I just like struggled so much to put my words into some sort of like streamlined, coherent statement, but it's not coherent at all. I don't even know if I should put this up. We'll just see. Hey guys, I come before you today in my weird and messy and not really cute room, but I wanted a little change of scenery, so here we are. So today, I wanted to talk to you about a topic that I've been meaning to talk about for a while, and that is ghost hunting. But specifically, I want to talk about my one ghost hunting experience. In making this video, I don't mean to generalize any paranormal investigators or ghost hunters because I know every group does things differently and use different methods and have different intentions. So I'm only going to make statements on the ghost hunting endeavor that I went on, which was a negative experience. Okay, so just to start things off, I wanted to say that I am not a ghost hunter, I'm not an investigator. I said that before, but I don't really get into that. But I decided to go on this particular ghost hunting trip as sort of like a novelty experience, because there were other reasons why I wanted to go. It was who we were going with, where we were going, and there were lots of factors that made me want to go do this. But typically, I'm not even really a fan of ghost hunting. I've watched all of the shows and stuff. I know that that's not what every paranormal investigation group is about, but I have watched the shows. But personally, for me, I prefer anecdotes more than evidence, which is one of the big reasons why I'm not really into investigations. I also am not sensitive whatsoever, so I'm not really inclined to see anything that is provided that anything is actually happening. Trying to be a skeptic here as well. So here are the reasons why I did not enjoy my ghost hunting trip and what I don't enjoy about a lot of paranormal investigation or ghost hunting groups. Now that is as far as what I've seen on TV and read on the internet and things like that. Number one, the short period of time in which these investigations take place. Think about any story you've heard of a family that lived in a haunted house or a person that worked in a haunted location. How long were they there? Weeks, months, years? So what makes a paranormal investigation group think that they're going to get anything by just being there for a few hours? It's really about the build-up, I think. It's about the amount of time that you spend there and the increase in things that you experience over time. It all sort of like adds up. It's not like you're just going to walk in and see an apparition. No, it just is a developing. Additionally, how do these investigators think they're going to get the full spectrum of this phenomenon and everything that it's capable of if they're only there for that short amount of time? They're not really getting a full impression of what's going on, especially because it's a controlled environment. Issue number two, the reliance on technology. Okay, now this ghost hunt that I went on, a psychic was with us and he didn't do anything. So this particular ghost hunt was all about the ghost box. Our technology, I think, is primitive in comparison to what the spiritual realm, provided it exists, is capable of. I think all of this paranormal field is way beyond our technology. I don't understand why we think that our little gadgets and things can hold a candle to what's really happening here. I mean, I personally am just as skeptical of the blips on the ghost box or the mumbling on an EVP recorder as someone else might be of someone's anecdote. Now, I do understand that we have to collect data and study these phenomena in the best way that we know how, with the technology that we have at this time. But I don't think that any technological measurements should be considered more important than somebody's eyewitness testimony. Which brings me to issue number three, which is the emphasis on evidence. I get it. Picture it didn't happen. But do you really think that a ghost doesn't know how to avoid a camera? Or it doesn't know how to prevent itself from showing up on camera? I don't really know, but I think it's possible that spirits have more knowledge and power than we give them credit for. And plus, what does the picture really get you? Anyone that sees it that wasn't there is going to disregard it just as easily as they would disregard you telling a story. Don't get me wrong. On the flip side, I hate when people are like, fake, it's a bug on the lens, somebody was smoking out of screen, Photoshop, it's just a puppet. However, I don't think that evidence is the most important thing in this field of paranormal study. Issue number 4, the disrespectful nature of the communications to the dead. They're not always disrespectful. I'm sure y'all all know what show I'm talking about that's known for its provoking of the spirits, but in this particular ghost hunt that I went on, it was also disrespectful. The negotiating, the provoking, the elementary questions. We're constantly asking things of the spirits, like as though they're not people, and as though they can do anything we want on command. So the ghost hunt that I went on, the questions had a very condescending tone. The main communicator would ask things like, okay, well, we came a long way to talk to you, so a lot of us traveled real far to talk to you, so it would mean a lot to us if you would just answer our questions. You see those lights over there? Now if you walk in front of those lights, we'll be able to see you. How about it? Huh? Did you have a hard day at work today? I'm a worker here too. Can you show me around? Can you show me the ropes? Afterwards we'll go get some whiskey at the bar next door. Is there a Bob here? Bob? Is there a Bob here? Did I get a Bob? Bob, can you walk in front of those lights? Which brings me to issue number 5, the relentless grasping, the reaching, the forcing, the begging. It's embarrassing. Did you hear that? Oh, something touched me. If it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. Don't force it. Paranormal investigators are on this valiant mission to find evidence, to prove that something weird is happening, and to prove it with our science or technology. The main problem with this, I think, is that the most powerful paranormal experiences are happening when people aren't looking for it, when they're not hunting it down, when they're not asking for it to happen, when they're not armed and ready to capture it. It's been said that paranormal activity does not happen in a lab. And when ghost hunters come into a location and set up all their equipment, they're essentially creating a lab. Perhaps paranormal experiences happen to specific people for a reason. And you can't barge in and ask for these things to happen to you too, because maybe they're not meant for you. There will always be debunkers, and there will almost always be the likelihood that footage is debunkable. But I guess that's the beautiful and interesting thing about the paranormal. It's always going to be an enigma for us. While I think exploring its stories helps me personally and contributes to my understanding and impression of our existence, I know nothing's going to be a flat-out answer for me. But I'm not saying that paranormal investigators are useless. Once again, they do help in many ways. For example, they can determine when there is no logical explanation for experiences in a location. Like they'll check to make sure that the windows aren't rattling or the AC isn't making the doors slam and things like that. So they are able to go through and roll certain things out. And the evidence they capture, whether it's photos, EVPs, etc., they do help people find closure and help people feel like they've gotten some answers. But what I am saying is that the evidence from paranormal investigations is not necessarily the end-all be-all. My ghost hunting experience did not yield any results, which is fine because it was a novelty trip. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to get any results, but the grasping and the questions they were asking and things like that were just so cringy, and I was kind of embarrassed to be involved in it. I think nothing really replaces an eyewitness story, and that's just me personally. I love the eyewitness stories, even though nothing can really substantiate them. Overall, what I think needs to come from the field of paranormal research, even just for somebody like me who just likes it, is to think about how each experience, whether it's your own or someone else's, how each experience makes you feel and what it makes you think. If you think a story or a piece of footage is a lie, move on. And if you suspect it's a credible story or picture, ask yourself, what do you think is behind it? What do you think its purpose is? What do you think this means for your possibly eternal soul? And how does it compare or contrast with other stories you've heard? I think the most exciting thing about the paranormal world is that it's sort of a window into life beyond this existence. And if nothing else, the paranormal stories, knowledge, and data should help you on your own spiritual journey through, again, interpreting what each tale means to you. So yeah, you can disregard any story you hear or any piece of evidence that you see, or you can take it for what it's worth and really think about what it means to you. Maybe this was kind of a rambly video. I don't really know where I was going with it, but I did want to say that ghost hunting is kind of cringy sometimes, and why do you think evidence is any less important than people's real stories? So that's it for now. I'll see y'all next time. Good night and goodbye forever.